Welcome to another episode of Do You Believe? I have a lot of stuff to cover today. First and foremost, we know that the war in Israel is expanding. We're now on three fronts. We have Hamas in the south, Hezbollah in the north, and also Syria now, which are actually Iranian proxies shooting into Israel from the north. It's appalling. These people are barbarians. They're barbaric. I mean, when you start cutting the heads off of babies, 40 infants, is beyond my comprehension. I can't wrap my brain around the evil there. These people are just like ISIS, and maybe worse than ISIS. Now, as this stuff unfolds, we see more and more American people, and I say Americans, I'm not sure they're all Americans. Who knows anymore with the borders and the situation that they're in. But protesting like in New York, for the Palestinian barbarians. I mean, how idiotic is that? If I had the power, I'd round up every single one of them and send them over to Gaza and let them fight for what they believe in. They have no right to. They have no rhyme or reason, no right to even live in this country. If they really believe that way. Which brings me to another topic. During this broadcast, I'm going to give you a little information that's going to be very controversial, but it's a YouTube video, and it's about Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I'm going to show you that short video within this video, and I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what this means. None of this is by accident. Okay. I'm also going to show you what the word Hamas means in Hebrew. So when these Arabs picked that name for their terrorist organization, they were very careful in picking it because of what it means. We're in a very trying time, a very dangerous time in history of the world. We are on the verge of a global, I believe could be a global revolution, because the globalists want to shut down freedom. They want to put you in bondage. They want to control every facet of your life. And I want you to think back about all the things that have transpired. They want to get your guns. They want you to believe that the borders should be open because these people are refugees and they're seeking asylum. They're not seeking asylum. We had 630 Afghans cross our border that were captured since 2021. 630 that were captured. How many were not captured? We don't know that number. Fentanyl coming across the border. Gang members from MS-13 coming across the border. Terrorists from other countries in the Middle East coming across the border. How many sleeper cells are in America right now? And they want to take your guns? They're going to start doing facial recognition, just like the Chinese have been doing, and they're going to put cameras up everywhere. They want to go to digital currency, so that if you don't comply and you're good little sheep and follow along in order like they want you to, then they'll just cut off your money. And you can't have any money. I remember the World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab said, by 2030, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That means everything you work for all your life, the legacy you want to leave behind for your kids or grandkids, there won't be anything because you won't own nothing and they won't own nothing, but you'll be happy. These people are insane. Now, there's always been someone come along in history who decided they want to just control the world and make things the way they think they should be. I can think of several. Franco of Spain, Napoleon, and the latest maniac was obviously Hitler. And I think Klaus Schwab must have some kind of Hitler blood running through his veins. Of course, they are both German. Now, I learned a long time ago, during my 23 years in the military, that there was an old saying by the soldiers that were there a lot longer before me when I joined. Back in the 60s, when I joined the Army, there were people still in the Army from World War II. And they said if Germany ever got back together, it would be very, very dangerous for the rest of the world. Now, I'm not saying that Germany's a dangerous place to be or anything like that. I lived there for 7 years. German people are really nice people. But their leadership, that is descendants. There were places in Germany that didn't like Americans, especially in northern Germany where Patton's army had gone through. I remember being there back in the early 70s, and there were still people, the signs of the war were there, where there were many German people that were without an arm or a leg or whatever. I can understand the resentment. Okay, I get it. But I had nothing to do with that, and neither did you. And that thing about time heals all wounds, I don't think that's true. Some wounds never heal. But what they're going to try to impose on us as American citizens, as a sovereign nation of the United States of America, is to take away those borders, to take away those freedoms, to take away that citizenship, to take away this country, and have one global government, one global currency, and if they can, and they're going to try to do that, and have one world religion. Now, what that religion is going to look like, I don't know. Is it going to be Islam? Is it going to be the Catholic Church? I have no idea. But I do know this. This Pope that they have now, he is not your normal Pope. He gets a lot of pushback from the cardinals. He's different. And if you ever get the time, look up the prophecy of Saint Malachi, and you can find out what he says about this particular Pope. And it goes back, I think, 500 years ago he made this prophecy. So, keeping all this in mind, this is where we're headed. And if people remain silent and don't speak out and wait till it actually affects them personally in their own home, it'll be too late to do anything about it. Now, even though I was in the military for all those years, I still am a person who believes in trying to do things peacefully. I've seen the results of war, and I've seen, just for example, the burn center at Fort Sam Houston, Texas, during Vietnam is horrible. Napalm was a horrible weapon, okay? And sometimes it was dropped in wrong locations, and our own servicemen suffered from the results of it. That burn center, it was horrible to see the results of that. Walter Reed Army Hospital. I visited there and I walked through. It's horrible to see what war can do to people. And now we have 20 years of Afghanistan and Iraq, and Iraq was a big mistake. George W. Bush, I don't know what his reason he wants to go into Iraq, because if we'd left Saddam Hussein in power, as nuts as he was, he kept Iran in check. They were mortal enemies. We got the Sunnis and the Shias fight each other. They don't like each other, and it's all over who the Mahdi's going to be. You have to do some research on that. I haven't got time to go into all that detail. But who's going to be the Mahdi when it's kind of like their Messiah coming back? Okay. So they don't like each other because they argue about that. The Sunnis are the majority, the Shias are the minority, and the Iran government is a Shia government. They don't like the Sunnis, so they want to get this nuclear weapons so they can hold the world hostage. Okay, I'm hoping that between Israel and the United States and our Western allies, that we don't let that happen. That we don't let them get nuclear weapons, that we take those sites out before that happens. That's what I'm hoping for. I know Israel, nor us for that matter, can afford to allow the Iranian government to obtain nuclear weapons. We can't allow that to happen. They will hold up the whole world hostage. And we know by their actions of being the biggest promoter of terrorism in the world today. They're behind 99.9% of all terrorism today in the world. We cannot allow them to have a nuclear weapon. Just imagine. If they're this crazy, they have no regard for human life. None whatsoever. So what do? So far, the church, for example, has remained silent. They're not speaking out against it, with some exceptions like Jack Hibbs in California. There are others, but 99% of the church is silent. I don't understand it. There's no explanation that they can give me for it. It has to be fear, even though God tells us 365 times in the Bible, do not fear. Gave us do not fear 365 times. That's once every day of every year. So what are we going to do, people? Are we going to sit back and just watch all this stuff unfold and not worry about anything and say, well, kumbaya, that's the way things are, It won't be kumbaya, that's for sure. So, without going into any more detail, I've told you what I'm going to do today, and this is again, this is a trying time that we live in. This is a dangerous time that we live in. And if you don't believe that we're in the end times and that Jesus is coming back soon, then I don't know where you've been living for the past 10 years. People say, oh, well, they've been saying Jesus is coming back for 2,000 years. Well, yeah, that's true. Okay. That's true, they have. But he gave us the signs, the warnings to look for. And there's all kinds of signs and warnings to look for. You can go back to 2014. He said he gave us the suns, the stars, and moons in the heavens as signs, and also to separate day from night in the seasons, okay? But the first thing was for signs. So in 2014-15 we had 4 blood moons. In 2017 we had the Revelation 12 sign, and also the sign of the gods of pyramids. And you think all this is just a coincidence. Well, I will tell you right now, there's no such thing as coincidence in the Hebrew language, which is a pure language, a God-given language. And there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything has a purpose. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check out here, and I'm going to leave you with this thought. If you know, and you should know, that things are coming to a climax, exactly when this climax will peak, I can't tell you. And I don't think anyone else can either. Just like they keep asking when this war will be over. It's a war. You can't put a timeline on it because you don't know the intricate details of what's going on. You know there's hostages there they want to get back. But you also know that the Israelis are not going to allow Hamas to exist after what has happened. And I don't blame them. And if I lived there, if I could get there, I would be right in the middle of it if they let me. I hate evil, and there's nothing more evil than what these barbaric Hamas terrorists have done in Israel since Saturday. Think about what you want and what you're willing to do to make sure that your freedoms are secure. Think about what has to happen to ensure that you get to keep those freedoms. Think about what we need to say as a people and speak out as a people to let the world know we're not going to lay down and let you just take over. We're not going to be your sheep. We're not going to let you take everything away from us. We're not going to let you control our money. We're not going to let you control our lives. And we're not going to let you take from us what we work for. Now think about that. What are we going to do? I'm open to suggestions. And if you want to suggest something, put it in the comments. Click the like button. Subscribe. We'll work on this together. God bless you all.
Many see the slogan Black Lives Matter, or BLM, as a noble plea for equal treatment under the law. It's a cry to secure the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for everyone. But what does the Black Lives Matter organization actually stand for? To find out, look no further than their leaders, Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, and Patrisse Cullors. Here's Cullors in a revealing 2015 interview.
We actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Visit the Black Lives Matter website and read the list of demands to get a sense of how deep a transformation they seek. One of those demands proclaims quote, "We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another. We can't be certain, but it's hard to believe this radical agenda is what most signed up for when they made that hashtag Black Lives Matter social media post, or that every employee, customer, or shareholder at Nike endorses a disruption of the family." Garza first coined the phrase in 2013, the day George Zimmerman was acquitted of murdering Trayvon Martin. Her friend Colors added the hashtag and joined the words so it could travel through social media. Tometi created the digital platform blacklivesmatter.com. According to Robert Stilson of the Capital Research Center, the group became a self-styled global network in 2014 and a fiscally sponsored project of a separate progressive nonprofit in 2016. This evolution has helped embolden an agenda vastly more ambitious than a national defunding of police. The goals of the Black Lives Matter organization go far beyond what most people think. They're hiding in plain sight, there for the world to see. If only we read beyond the slogans and the summaries of the movement they helped to create. It's a distinction with a profound difference. Their radical Marxist agenda is bent on supplanting the basic building blocks of society, the family, replacing it with the state, and destroying the economic system that has lifted more people from poverty than any other. Theirs is a blueprint for misery, not justice. It must be rejected.